Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to another one. CMath run today. We're going to do the graph menu again. We're going to look at some of the advanced features of the graph menu compared to the TI 83. Not really a comparison so much as this is meant to be a video, or this series of videos is meant to be more along the lines of if you're in a classroom that's got TIs, TI-83s, 84s, things like that, and you've got a prism, or your student or your child has a prism, how could I use the prism to do the same thing that the TI is doing? Just keep in mind the Casio Prizm does have some features that TI does not have. The 83s came out a long time ago. Great solid piece of calculator equipment, but I want to be able to help people out who've got prisms, who are living in a TI world. So not really a comparison about which one's better, which one's worse. It's there will be some features that the Prizm has that the TI doesn't, and this is just going to point out some of those. But here we go. So let's see. Last week we looked at graphing. So if I'm on a TI, I'll go into y equals. I type in an equation. Let's make it a quadratic. We'll just go with x squared. I'll delete the whole thing here and just clear that whole thing out. Let's go with an x squared, and we'll just go x squared minus 4 to keep it nice and simple. Press enter to get it in there. Press graph. There's my graph of my equation, my standard window. On the Prizm, you're going to the main menu, going to option number 5, which is the graph menu. Again, we're going to type in the same equation, x squared minus 4. I like the fact that it uses a nice script X. It will turn blue when I press execute. And now I'm ready, because the calculator is going to wait until I've pressed execute to move to the next line and give me the blue that says, okay, this has been locked in. Press draw. Currently you notice the windows are slightly different. Since the high pixels here, high pixel resolution, we have a window that's twice as wide as it is tall. To make your windows appear in the same way as the TI, if you don't remember from last week, I'm going to go into View Window, which is a Shift F3. Right now it's set as an initial window. I've got some presets, including a trig window. Looks like that, which is about 3 pi. Or a standard window, which is your 10 by 10. So if your teacher changes windows on you, you want to go with a standard window. Follow those directions there. Press execute, execute again to draw it. Okay, now we've got the same picture. Same number of pixels each direction, so you got the same idea. Alright, some of the things that we ask students to look for is we want to look for zeros. We look for a 0. TI, you're going to press second calc. Number 2, 0. I got to go left bound. Now I got to be on the left hand side of the 0. This is the part that confuses students. You got to be on the left of the 0, on the right of the 0, and then I got to guess. There's my first 0, and I got to do that again if I want to find the second one. So you get the idea. Casio Prizm, if you're looking for zeros, it's under the Gsolve menu, which is that F5 key. You can press Shift F5, it does the same thing. What I'm looking for are the roots. The roots or the zeros are the same thing. So I just press F1 and it'll give me the roots. As long as the roots are inside the domain, it does not matter about left bound, right bound, or guessing. It will find not only the first one, but when you toggle over, it'll find the second one. So if you toggle left and right, you can find you've actually found both of them. This will do as many roots as are on the screen. So if you've got multiple roots of a sine curve, for example, it'll find all the roots. Another thing, we want to find the minimum point on the graph. Again, I got to do a left bound, right bound. Toggle over to the right hand side, and then I got to guess. You can just press enter. It gives me the left bound, right bound. It gives me the minimum. Same thing for the Prizm here. Gsolve. You want to find a minimum? Just press minimum. There's the minimum. Maximum works the same way. There's no need for left bound, right bound. Again, as long as it's in the domain, it'll show up on your screen. Something else we do, we ask to find certain values. We're going to find a certain value for a function. When x is 3, what is y? Gives me what the y value is. Kind of nice, it gives me the equation as well. Alright, so let's see what we do that on the Prizm here. Gsolve. I don't see the word value yet, so let me toggle over. I got a choice. I can either x calculate or y calculate, so I can either calculate an x value given a y value or calculate a y value given an x value. So I want to calculate a y given an x. X value I said was 3. Now you notice there's more than one though. There's actually 2. On my TI here I would... Oh no, then in this case there's only 1. The next one is the one we have 2. So here if there's multiple, again you can toggle between multiple values. In a function like this you're not going to have multiple values. Something that's been a little more difficult to do is if I want to know when is the curve going to hit the number 3, for example. So I do something like that and I graph it. It's going to hit 3 in 2 different points when the y value is 3. What you've got to do is you're going to have to go second calc, and you're going to find the intersection between those two. Again, the first curve is there, the second curve is there, the guess is there. It will find one of them, then you got to force it to do a little dancing to find the other one. The Prizm, I've got the option of Gsolve, F6 to see more. I'm going to x calculate. Given a y value of 3, there's one value. Whoops, using my keyboard there. Where's the other value? I just toggle over. So there's my 2 values. I can also do it the same way I do on my TI. I exit, I press the number 3, press execute. I'll draw them. Now you're going to see one red, one blue. Makes it a lot nicer to look at. I will Gsolve. This time I want to find the intersection between those two. Again, any intersections that are on there, there's multiple intersections, they will show up. I had a little overlay there. So there's my 2 values. Again, it gives me my 2 functions. What are the 2 places that I'm looking at? I'm looking for the intersection, vocabulary. When y is 3, what are my x values? Let's see, what else do we ask students to do? Well, we find intersections. Again, multiple intersections you can find. You can find derivatives and integrals at different values. Let me show you those functions here on the Prizm. Alright, I'm going to go more. Here's the integral function. This time I'm going to do the integral between intersections. Here's my first. I'll press execute. Toggle over. There's my second. Press execute. There it is. The TI does something similar. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's okay. Derivatives. I can go into the sketch this time. Sketch will give me a couple of options. Clear screen gives me the tangents at different points. I can just toggle around my tangents, which we all know are my derivatives. So you can find that. And right now I don't have the equation turned on, but I can actually turn on the equation there. I know I'm going through that part pretty quickly, but if you want to see more on that, look on my video about calculus. Some of the calculus videos. I've done a video on calculus on the Prizm that goes through some of these features in more detail. So I want to turn that on. Exit. Go ahead and draw. Find a tangent, which is under sketch. F6 for more. Whoops, no, I didn't need F6 for more. My tangent, which is in F2. Toggle around. Not only do I see the derivative, when I press execute, I'm going to get the equation of the line, the point of tangency. There's the tangent. Here's the equation that it's being tangent to. Alright, so that's a video on some of the calc menu versus the Casio Prizm, and how do I use both of those. Alright, there was a request video that I'll be doing in a few minutes on quadratic formula. So if you want to see the other video, I'll have 2 of them up today.